It is 9:30 a.m. on a Friday, which usually means you're right smack dab in the middle of Bridging Civil Tension with Wallace and Jones. Today, however, we have a super special episode of Ask a Bookkeeper with your host, Steph Conley, and a very, very special guest. Steph, why don't you introduce yourself and your guest?
Hi, Stephanie Conley, Steph's Bookkeeping Service. This is Joe Turner from Restoration One out of Crystal Lake. Well,
Cary, Crystal Lake, all over. We're based out of Crystal Lake. We are officially Restoration One of Cary. That's where we started out of, the garage.
So, all right, I'm just sharing the post so we get some of our listeners tuning in. So as always, you guys are more than welcome to put any comments, questions on the Facebook. And we today are going to be talking about goals, since Joe is an operations type guy. So I know that he knows his numbers and his formulas and all of that. So he kind of geeks out over numbers the same way I do. So this should be good and interesting. Good morning, Tim Santos.
Hey, Tim. What's up, dude?
So here.
Hey, Christine.
Morning, Christine. Long time no see.
12 hours, I heard.
So I guess to say the least, obviously 2020 has been an interesting year since you guys have been in business for how long?
We've been in business since June of 2017.
Okay. So you guys have obviously been able to kind of put together your projections, your goals, and
we had some
kind of normal.
Yeah, beginning of 2020, we had some decent numbers to make some decent projections and say this is what our goals are going to be and this is where we want to be. Yes, beginning of 2020.
And then, so what kind of happened then after once the COVID kind of went live and now you guys had to pivot? How difficult was it for you to reassess and potentially pivot your strategy, your goal projections, what your end of year was going to look like?
So the big thing that we took into was, and I wrote some notes.
Oh, your wife says hi.
Oh, hi, Care. Hey, Care. If I call her Cary, she knows I'm hurt, so I never say Cary. I just say Care. So regular goals, projections for the year. Our 2020 goals were to go out and, everybody has their certain revenue number they want to hit for the year. We went out and set that net revenue number. We started off, our goal for 2020 was we set a standard goal, we set a stretch goal, and then we set our big, hairy, audacious goal. We called our BHAG, right? That's the big old nasty one that is very hard to get to. And so for 2020, when we went into it and then COVID hit, we never really kind of veered off of saying we can't get to our goals, right? Our goals were always kind of in range. We just had to adjust how we got to them, was more kind of what we did, but we still had those same goals. We didn't drop them. So we continued to pursue our goals from 2020 and never really dropped them and changed them. They were there. We had to change our daily, there's short-term, long-term, things like that. So those were the kind of things that we adjusted were the short-term. Long-term goals we kept the same. We wanted to make sure that we do what we set out to do.
Do you feel like it was easier for you guys to kind of stay on path because you were an essential business and you guys weren't going to be forced to shut down like the restaurants and some other businesses?
Of course.
Or do you feel like you still kind of took a hit? Because I was an essential business. And I still feel like during the shelter and stay, we took a small hit and then we had to adjust some stuff. And thankfully we were able to recover, but.
Yeah. So with being a business that did initially start off, and we do still do COVID cleanings, we try not to, but we do the COVID cleanings. And so it did help our business. However, on the flip side of that, while we did gain a little bit of business from this COVID cleaning and the disinfectings and things like that, there was a lot of other business of ours that we normally would go to, like a mold cleanup or something like that, that somebody might have been living with for a couple months or few months or a year or something like that. So they never went and said, hey, I got to go and get it done now that COVID's hit. I want to, I'll wait till 2021 or 2022 or whatever. So there was a lot of the side business that's not emergency based that we didn't see. And then on top of that, we also had, because of COVID, we had a lot of our personal protective equipment, PPE, go up in price. A lot of people know that has substantially increased. For us, it's been about 3 to 4 times the amount. For standard PPE that our guys wear. So the expenses have gone up in certain areas, and then also our we aren't seeing the standard side business that people would say, hey, I need to get this thing taken care of, even though it's not an emergency. So that's where we see the fluctuation, and we had to adjust and make sure things go well. So.
And then since now that we're about to be going into 2021, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we hopefully won't have a whole nother year of COVID. But so when you're looking at your numbers to put together your goals for 2021, are you kind of taking the revenue earned from COVID and setting that kind of aside and using more realistic stuff to put your projections together? Or do you feel like you're going to include that because that was revenue regardless, even though it was a very unique situation?
So I think it was kind of, as I alluded to before, we had the increase from COVID, we had the decrease from COVID not allowing us to go into the non-emergency type business. So I think that kind of weighs itself out. I actually believe that our COVID stuff is probably, and Carrie could probably, she could probably give you a much better set of what exactly our numbers are. But as a round thing, our non-emergency business does make up quite a bit. So to be able to get in there and do stuff, she just said we did not profit from COVID.
Oh, okay.
So we do it. We will do it. It's not a profit. Like there's so much expenses that go into it. The chemicals that you have to have, the amount of chemicals you have to buy are just phenomenal. You're not going to come in with a can of Lysol and clean this entire office, let alone the entire building. So you really have to kind of think.
Yeah. Pete's been cleaning the building.
1 can? 4. Okay, 4. Hey, it's not 1.
And wipes.
And wipes.
Soap.
And soap and water.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything in here has been scrubbed and sprayed and wiped completely.
I love that.
It smelled like a doctor's office. It smelled
so sterile.
antiseptic.
Yes.
For Wednesday and yesterday, it was gross to me. I mean, the smell was just nauseating.
We have respirators with cartridges and filters that the guys have to wear. Those are expensive, So there's a lot that we have to take into account when it comes to those. So we don't like COVID. We're ready for it to be gone just as much as the next guy, right? Anybody profiting off of COVID, it's probably they're not doing something right. There are certain standards too, just a little bit into it, that you have to follow with COVID to just in cleaning, you follow the product label. The wipes, you wipe a surface that has to stay wet for 2 to 3 minutes, right? So you have to use enough wipes to keep that surface wet for that long. You have to spray a Lysol and keep it wet for 10 minutes. So there's a lot to go into it. So if somebody's whipping through and being able to clean a place and say that they're profitable, they're charging an arm and a leg, and not, so we're ready for COVID to be over, bottom line. 2021, we're ready for it to get back to normal, and ready for things to be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as an owner of a business with staff, how important do you think it is to put together the goals and the plans and then share it with your staff and really get them involved, get them excited and hyped up about where we're going, the next steps and all that, so they really feel like they're part of the plan?
So
Hey, April.
So I have hang on, let me skim through my notes because I had a little story on this one, and I really wanted to tell that one. So this year we started off this year, and we have some of the greatest employees. First off, so our employees are technicians that actually go out and do the work. We've been running them hard. They're young. They are all learning. We're all learning. We are a fairly young company, but our guys and our passion for learning is what drives us, and to take care of the client. So we noticed throughout the year that our I guess you would call it labor ratio, if you would, the amount of labor that we had was a bit higher than our KPI, key performance index, right, for the standard industry. And so based on that, we were looking at our labor and saying that there's certain things we like to do for our guys, such as we like to, give them a partial pay on lunch. We like to, make sure that they're paid for training and give them good training and things like that. And so what we were finding was some of our labor ratios were a little higher than the industry standards. So what we tried to do was think, all right, how can we maybe change some of the things that we're doing and our tasks in the business to make those labor ratios get down a bit better. So we talked to the guys, and they came up with the contents was where we were really struggling with time and spending a lot of time and effort and money and thus labor on handling content. So we had put the guys this year through a contents class, and through that, and obviously a few other things, it wasn't just one thing, but through that and a few other things, the guys were really, really pumped and really proud and passionate to drop their own labor ratios and get this business into a lean, mean machine and be efficient. And so by instilling those goals to them of like, hey, look, we want to go and get you guys trained. We want to learn things. We want you to learn things. We want to be able to take what we've all learned and be able to apply it and put ourselves into that be that standard, that key performance, hit that key performance index, and be able to perform as good as all the other companies out there. So they've done that. And I'm happy and proud to say that throughout the end of the year, they have been hitting those key performance indexes and are very proud of that. And so these are something that we pushed to them, and they were able to do it. And it was through training and through reading our numbers and understanding where we should be at versus where we are at. Long answer.
So how do you keep everybody kind of focused on the goal? Do you guys have like a whiteboard? Do you post a sheet up by the time clock? Because I know where my husband works, he's the general manager, and he has to do all of those performance indicators and put down like if the truck is billing enough, if the labor's too high, if they're not hitting their sales goal or whatever it is. And he puts it by the time clock every, I think they do it at the end of every month.
Right.
And so then the guys could see who's at the top of the list, who's at the bottom of the list.
Right.
Gets a little competitive sometimes.
Yep.
So how do you guys kind of give everybody those little pokes and reminders?
We're a little bit more of a family in the sense that we're smaller. So we don't have we have enough guys. We have a group text, and that is the life and heart blood of our company, in the sense that if we need anything, any reminders out to them, it is, hey guys, don't forget this. Hey guys, don't forget this. And then we do weekly meetings where they all sit down. We have a project manager. He'll sit down with them, and we go through everything we need to go through as far as goals, plans for the week, things that they need to do. We're very communicative in the sense that we like to make sure that everybody is on the same page with what we're trying to go for. So if there's software that we're changing or updating or something new that we're doing in our software, we want to make sure that the guys are on board. And nobody can go in, even if it's on a whiteboard in the office, they're out in the trucks all day. Mm-hmm. They're out in the vans all day. So if they're out in the vans and they read it once in the office, they're not going to remember to go and do something that may make a difference out in the field. So the idea would be that, like Carol send out reminders. Hey, don't forget this. Hey, don't forget that. Or our project manager will let them know things here and there. So there's different ways that we remind them. The goals for our year are typically posted. We have one of those, thermometer things that you
okay, yeah.
Right, like, so that's what we have in our office, and that's like their
Like they have
drive.
it like the PBS telephone.
Exactly, we're a fundraiser. We're a fundraiser. But yeah, so we have one of those. That's how they watch it. I write my goals down. I leave goals specifically writing down to the employee themselves, because we're going to drive them and push them to do what we want them to do to achieve our goals. Whether or not they want to achieve their goals, that's on them. That's on them. We push them to do things, and they do. But yeah, I take care of. Karen and I have our own goals. We want to make sure that we achieve those. So those are what I have written down and how I take care of those.
And then anybody out there watching on Facebook, if you guys have anything that you do within your business, or if there's anything you want to know on how to find out what your KPIs are, or if you want to just ask a question, a good goal versus a bad goal, don't hesitate to post on the chat feed, and we'll read it and do our best to answer it this morning for you. And and get those going. And then how do they get a hold of you and your company? Since we're
so our best way for you guys to get a hold of us is through our 1-800 or 847 number. It's 847-264-4664. And that's going to be the best way, 24/7, 7 days a week. Holidays, doesn't matter. If you have an emergency, that's how you get a hold of us. If it's a question or anything like that, we have Facebook, we have our website. But that's call the phone number. That's going to put you through to care. She's going to pick up. She's going to figure out what's going on. She will get the guys dispatched. That's the chain that we like to follow, to make sure that falls into the chute and not off in La La Land by texting me. Please don't text me.
Okay. And then, so as I kind of mentioned a little second ago, is there such thing that you feel as bad goals? I feel like we've kind of really focused on the positive, the growth factors, getting the staff excited. And then now, is there some goals that you feel like would not help to improve?
So yes, there are such thing as bad goals. The easiest way that I like to explain this is I always like to tell people my wife tells me, don't sort screws and nuts, or don't sort paper clips. That's not going to help the business, right? Going out and, I can think of a plumber or an electrician or any contractor that has a load of pipes or wiring or something, or junction boxes or whatever it may be, fittings. And you go out and you got to sort all those because you think that's going to make you more money. You have to really stop and think about what's going to make you more money, or what's going to improve your business to help you make more money. Right now, making money is not the ultimate end all goal, but building your business, making sure that your business is successful is the ultimate end all goal, because if you're not making money, then you're losing money. And if you're losing money, then you're not going to be successful and you're not going to be around forever. So making money is in everybody's head. Somebody could say, I want to make money and make it $1 million or $3 million or 20, 100 million. I don't care what the number is. Making money to me is not, that it's just having a successful business that pays my bills. And we can grow and pay other people's bills. So when I look at a business and set my goals and look at how my goals are set, I don't like to look at, I always have to stop myself and say, don't go and sort paper clips. Don't go and sort screws and bolts and nuts. What I have to do is stop and look at the hard things that are going to drive my business. A bad goal would totally be something that is, not going to drive the next step of your business. It's something that you are trying to catch up with, or you're trying to, hard to explain. A good goal is a SMART goal. SMART goal. Side story, my wife was watching me write these SMART goals and thought she saw it from way behind my shoulder and thought she saw SHART goals. I don't know what a SHART goal is, but I was trying to come up with an H for that, but what an H would mean, but
I know. Yeah. Well, okay.
yeah. So a SMART goal, for those who don't know, it's specific. SMART is an acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. I heard this when I was early high school, maybe even junior high, and it always stuck with me. It never left, so I've just been doing it. Specific is state an action that needs to be completed. What do you need to do? If you need to go and get more clients, that's your goal. I need to get more clients. That is my goal. Then you're measurable. It needs to be trackable. How many clients do you need? I need this many clients more, right? Achievable, it must be something that you can achieve. So that number that you say is, I need more clients. Well, if you're only getting, 10 clients a month, to go out and say, I'm going to go get 100 clients is not an achievable goal. You should say, hey, I'm looking to go and get 12 or maybe 15 clients, something that is actual achievable. And then that's your measurable amount. Then it needs to be relevant to improving your business. So does it actually improve your business? Should be the name of the goal. Does it actually improve your business? So again, getting clients would improve your business. Sorting nuts and bolts does not improve your business. And then time bound. You got to give yourself a deadline. I mean, it's pretty easy to do those kind of things and to think about that. But to put the goal together and then to actually go get the goal is very hard to say, I'm going to do it by this date. This is what it's going to be. Most of us say, hey, I need more clients. Let me go get more clients. And that's my goal. It's not a specific number by a specific time, by a specific date. Right. And then, then you can create your action list or your tasks to go get them done, or smaller goals to make sure that you get those clients, right? Well, in order to get more clients this time, I'm going to send out 50 flyers instead of 10, whatever it may be. But that's kind of how it is. The SMART goals are really important. I live by those SMART goals. They're very important to me.
Yeah. Talking about, sending out a different amount of flyers versus all that, like for us personally, what we do, because we have, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 different things, like at any given time, kind of attempting to feed our sales hopper.
Totally.
And so we track everything through our CRM. So we have everything, every way you could reach us, either it be my vehicle wrap or our Google or any networking groups, Facebook, right. The show, I've gotten people called from the show. So we have everything in there. And I know, because my husband kind of handles the back end of our business. And if I don't ask how you heard about us, let me tell you the earful I get. So, because he's like, well, if we're not tracking it, I can't put together projections. We don't know if it's like we're throwing money away and we don't know this and we don't know that. I'm like, he's very specific on me about that. Yes. Like, so we use our CRM it's a product called Acello. How do you guys kind of track that? Do you ask people how they heard? Or?
We always ask. Sometimes it's a little harder if they say, Google. We got a lot of fingers out in Google, for us. So same thing. We track it through a CRM. We're working more with the CRM now than we did in the past. We weren't as big, so it was a lot easier to track when we were smaller. And we get, a couple jobs here and there, and you could easily go, all right, where are you from? Boop, 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 boop. Great. We know exactly where. We can make a spreadsheet, and fill all that out. Same thing. CRM is, having the right software in place is definitely the biggest thing for tracking all that and knowing what your return on investment is for certain things.
Because I feel like because we track it so closely and then I watch our numbers closely, we're able to cut something off quick. If we're bleeding money in a certain category with regards to our leads, I could cut it off quick. We're done. And we just move on to the next idea or strategy.
Right.
And that's kind of the benefit of having things organized, knowing your numbers, not using your business as your personal checkbook.
And that's, I actually have a referral for you.
Oh, okay. Well,
because of that, I talked to somebody literally this morning, and he's like, I'm out of money, and when our accounts receivable is high, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm going to talk to a bookkeeper right now. He goes, can I have her number? Yes. So I got a referral for you. Yes, you need to know your numbers. Return on investment is huge. There's so many networking groups. It's hard to determine networking groups on whether or not the return on investment price could be very low. However, time is very high, right? And so time you also have to consider in your return on investment. So there's a lot of, Carrie's adding something. She says, we use Kpis. Dang it, it went away. She said, we use Kpis. They use us. They give us every percentage KPI and tiny numbers under a magnifying glass. Kpis, that's part of QuickBooks thing. It's like an addition to QuickBooks, I believe.
Okay. So it's like an app that
it's
integrates?
An additional piece of software that dials into QuickBooks and pulls numbers from other in our industries to give a KPI. That's where we get our KPIs from.
Yeah, Rich just builds everything on Power BI.
Okay.
That's his thing. That's his love and passion.
Wow.
Outside of me, but
that is a love and a passion.
So yeah, he builds it all in there. I mean, because I know I saw earlier someone had asked about how do you track your KPIs. Well, it's some things are standard business, and then some things are industry specific. So like, I guess I could give an example of us and what we're doing right now. We're on the brink of hiring and expanding. So
awesome.
Yeah, so it's kind of exciting, kind of scary all at the same time. So we've sat down and I track all of my labor on every single client through our CRM.
Yes.
So we know that this is as many hours as we're potentially, give or take, going to have to pay an employee.
Yes.
So then we take that and factor it in to the next level. Then we need this employee at a part-time value to bill out X amount of dollars per month to make it able for us to hire an employee and not be on the struggle bus to get payroll cleared.
Right.
And then the next step would be if they were full-time, and then we could also put different levels of pay scale in there, and we manage everything on our spreadsheet and kind of look at it through there.
And so you can take and say each job is X amount of labor, or for this type of job, and break it down by type of job. So if you know that you want to support your employee, you have to go and get that many more of this type of job. Well, that's the way you take that and turn that into your SMART goal, is by saying, well, if I want to hire this employee, my goal is to get this employee. My goal then would be to make another goal to go and say, I want an employee by end of January 2021. That's a time-bound, specific, measurable goal, right? Well, then you can make another goal and say, all right, well, in order to do that, I need to make sure that I gain this much more business in this avenue, because this avenue gives me this much bigger chunk, and that would sustain my employee.
Right.
And you could totally break those numbers down very easily and say, this is exactly what I need to do. That's my goal. Let's go get it.
Right. And then we also take our revenue, and we have like QuickBooks setup, QuickBooks cleanup, and then we have our monthly reoccurring packages. So I know my monthly reoccurring packages are basically my bread and butter. That's consistent money every month. I don't have to really, that's that.
Right.
But these other ones are wild cards because they kind of fluctuate throughout the year. They can fluctuate based upon the number of businesses, going into business and things like that. So these wild card items, I don't particularly like to factor that in when I'm looking at hiring an employee.
Yeah, it's the sustained business that you have to build.
Right. So
you have to take those monthly clients that come on a monthly basis.
Right. So that's what I was kind of talking about with the COVID billing versus the non-COVID billing and going into your goals for 2021. I mean, So yeah, I mean, because we basically base ours off of our monthly reoccurring, and we throw some fluff in there because we know we're going to get cleanup work, because certain people like to wait till the end of the year, which are my favorite people to do their bookkeeping. So I know
that the most expensive for
um,
you.
there is
do?
a price difference
Yeah.
for us to do cleanup versus monthly reoccurring. And yes, it would be more cost effective for people, and not only be more cost effective for them to do it on a monthly basis, but also to be able to know their numbers and know where there's a problem before
Right.
the end of the year. So like if you're operating all year and then I'm like, oh, by the way, this category is outrageous. Like, what is this?
Right.
And then they're like, well, I don't know. Like, how are they supposed to remember something from 14 months ago?
Right.
And then if you would have known this 14 months ago, would you have gone in a different direction with your business plan, strategy, execution, whatever it may be?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Those are all things that kind of factor into creating goals, your KPIs, your SMART goals. Like there's so many different things and benefits in just knowing your numbers as a business owner. Even if you don't even understand your reports completely, you could still take that and put it into a budget into QuickBooks, and it will build you kind of a base level of where you kind of need to go a little bit.
Right. Kara wanted to add, we live by do it until it hurts. When you start to lose money on something, then you spend money to grow. If you and we've done that. One of the things that people actually have seen, I know I got a lot of comments on, was my new truck. I drove around in a 2010 Ford Ranger for years, right? And it's this little crappy little truck. It's actually a great truck. I love that truck, and we still have it. But it was time. I needed a new truck, and it was time to get a bigger truck. So I went out and bought myself a brand new, big, nice new truck, and got a lot of people. But we made that little truck work its tail off until we were starting like, all right, we're losing money. We need to get another vehicle. It's time. So, and we've put the bigger truck to work so much that the little truck couldn't have handled, or it might have struggled, but we would make it work. But it's nice, you have to struggle with what you have, and then as soon as you're like, oh, I'm at the absolute breaking point and I'm starting to lose money, then you expand. And
Was your old truck named Timmy?
It was.
Okay, that's yeah, I want to know what they are.
All right, we have two work vans that are large. One is Bertha, that's the original we got, and then there's Tina Turner, because she's rolling on the river.
Okay, when Christine told me about the name of the van, I was like, why did it get hit? And she's like, no, because of Joe and Carrie's last name. I'm like,
Turner.
Oh, I'm like, that makes more sense.
That's a little bit better. Phew.
Like,
Well, the third van is a little worse, though. It's Chester. It
has no windows.
It has no windows. It has no markings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Insinuate there.
Yeah.
And then we have Christine drives Rhonda the Honda.
Okay.
And then Kelly, our other sales girl, she drives Timmy. And then the new truck is named Felicia. And then Carrie has a minivan, and that is named, she calls it My Van. So that's the name of it, My Van. And then we have a trailer, a box trailer, I call Quasi. Quasimodo, because it's like the little humpback off the back of me. So that's the fleet.
That's cool.
Everybody's got a name.
I
If you're
like
taking a vehicle, it's got to go somewhere. Yeah. You got to have fun with things.
Yeah,
too.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you. Glad I could share that. Thanks, Christine, for bringing that up. That's awesome. Yeah. Any other questions?
Let's see.
Hit me.
I know that I've kind of bounced around from all these.
I know you didn't go in the order you sent me them in.
I know.
I had them all planned out in an order.
I like to
Mix it up.
yeah. Well, and then I never know where the conversation's gonna go. But I don't know. I feel like I've asked all the questions on my list. And
Short term, long term. Hang on. one thing. So you asked me how often do I review my goals to make sure that I'm on track. Long-term goals I'll do once a month. I write them down. I'll do once a month. They're in my phone in notes. I don't like to put them on my phone screen, or even the home screen or like the lock screen. I don't like to do that because I want to be able to physically go into something and to review it and go, yep, still good, or scratch it out, erase it, and write something else in or adjust it or something like that. So I want to be able to go in and physically see it and be like, yep, this is what it is. Yep, it looks good. Yep, I'm good. That's long term. Short term goals, and I visit those once a month or once every 2 months. Short term goals, I keep a pad of paper and I like to write tasks, but they're associated with the goals, and the short term goals are in my head and I don't write them down. That's bad, I know. You shouldn't do that. Everybody should write their goals down, all of them. But I don't like to write my short-term goals down because they change and they're fluid and it's more of like a daily thing. And I know that they're all in my head working towards my long-term goal. So my short-term goals, I like to keep them kind of, I'll write on a pad of paper at the top, hey, this is kind of something I want to get done. And then that pad of paper, I'll continue to use and write tasks down. And those tasks I cross off. And as long as I'm crossing those tasks off, I know I'm completing my short-term goals. So the physical goal may not be written out, or it might be, but my tasks I get done are well associated with those goals. And that's what I write down. So I like to write down and adjust my long-term, not my short-term.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Do you write yours down?
The short term?
Any of them?
We have our long term.
Awesome.
Like, so for like we have it broken down by quarter.
Okay.
And so we have I want to hit so much per quarter. So we kind of have that written down, and there's, a conversation and a plan, but things that are like short term, like, but for the day or for the week, I don't write them down because I don't really have anyone to share them with but myself. So
yeah, you do. Come on.
If I could share them with Rich, because he's the other half of the business. But sometimes, I don't know, like working.
Are your goals based on like your fourth quarter is probably substantially larger than your third quarter?
Well,
or your
flipped,
first quarter might be.
So our third quarter is bigger than our fourth quarter because you have all the people that filed their extensions that still didn't do their cleanup in March. And now we got to do their cleanup because they have to get that done.
Okay.
To be able to file.
But you base your goals based on the quarter, the year prior, right? Like, it's not like every quarter is the same goal.
Oh, no. So I know certain quarters we get more cleanup work because of the flow of tax season.
Right.
This year was a little different because tax season was extended, and then there was another extension, and
so many weird things.
It was different. But normally we break it by that. So I have certain goals and targets I need to hit, and so one quarter will definitely be substantially higher than another one.
As far as the goals, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this past November we had our biggest billing month in the whole 3 years we've been in business. So that was pretty cool and exciting. So thank you to all of our clients and everything like that. So so next year that month is going to be the month to look at, which is going to be
that's going to be the one you're like, oh crap,
that's
going to be that number.
That's going to be my monster month that I'm going to have to tackle.
Your big hairy audacious goal.
Yeah, so I'll know, so I know that that's coming down the pipeline. The difficult thing for me and in my business about sharing the short-term goals is Rich and I can put together a list and have the exact same goal. We have the same goal, same target. This is what we're going to do. But him and I have the complete opposite way of getting to that goal. The timeline, we'll still hit the time, we'll still hit it. But so it's very difficult for him to have, him and I to have a conversation without it turning into a passionate debate
about whose
path is the correct path.
Skin the cat.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
oh God.
So it's just
love you, Care. Oh, Daddy loves Lucy too.
So, it's just that we, so the short-term stuff, I I guess just share with Eli when he's in my office watching cartoons. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get this done this week, and he's just like, okay.
Sounds good.
So
yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. We've had our, how to get to this point. It's tough. You have to stop and have that passionate debate,
right.
and say, okay, is there a happy medium that we could do, or is there, do we have to go both routes and see which one's successful for a little bit? That's a tough one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a tough one because I'm in the trenches doing the work. I know bookkeeping.
Right.
He's not in the trenches because he has another full-time job, and this is kind of his like part-time side helping me kind of keep me on track thing.
Yeah.
Because he, so it's difficult to tell me something when I don't feel like enough about the topic.
Fair enough. It's totally fair.
I mean, I know he's probably listening, and this is not anything new. From what
I was gonna say, this sounds like.
No, Rich knows that. I mean, I feel like everybody that has listened to 21.6 The Net over the year or so that I've been on has learned a whole lot of stuff about our house and my family, and
that's what happens when you're in.
But that's why they enjoy tuning into you, because you're not just sitting here saying $1.95. 3% more.
I was gonna say, and real life is real life. Everybody loves real life. That is what that is.
That's what 216thenet.com, real life internet radio. That's what we are.
I love that. Absolutely. No, I think the goals are huge. I think you gotta keep them, watch them, have them. If not, you're just floating along wherever you're gonna go.
So do you think that if you have a new business, because I know we have a lot of new business owners that tune in, right. If you have somebody that's never done goal planning and setting before, do you think it's better for them to do maybe a couple, like a small stack of short-term goals just to build up that confidence? Or do you feel like they should just go for it, get that year-long goal, and then have their short goals? So this way they can't like put one toe in the water. They got to get in it and get messy.
No, you got to, cannonball, jackknife, whatever you like to do off the diving board that made the biggest splash, whatever it was, do that. When we started our company, we set our goals and we set our big goals. And again, same thing. In order to achieve your big goals, you set small goals. So to set a bunch of small goals is just kind of like, you're just going like this, and then you're just going to be continuing to, like, where does those little steps take you, right? If you don't have that big end, or big thing down at the end, where are these little steps going, right? You're just going off in, a bunch of different directions. So you need to give that big goal in order to create the small goals to get to the big goal. Right. We definitely set a goal right off year one. We opened in June, and we had a goal. I think it was like for the year, 6 months, whatever it was. I think it was like something like $30,000, which for a restoration company is for first year, that might be awesome. We blew it out of the water, but only because we had great storms that there weren't enough restoration companies. So then it was like, all right, well, now let's move on to the next goal, right? And as soon as we hit that goal, it was like, all right, how far can we go? So we increased our goal mid-year or probably like September to say, all right, now we're going to hit 30. Let's go for something bigger. So here's our next goal. And it wasn't like just settle. You have to keep pushing yourself and be in that uncomfortable area of making yourself grow and learn. Otherwise, if you don't grow and learn and push, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to be in the same spot and do the same thing over and over. And then you won't be, you'll be where you're at. You'll be whatever.
If you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you always got. There's no change.
Somebody smart said that one time, I swear to God.
I was sitting right over here.
I knew that. I knew it. Yeah. You have to change. You have to grow. And if you don't push yourself to do it and get uncomfortable.
And sometimes you have to set uncomfortable goals because the change dictates that. It's, I mean, for our station, we're 3 years old. We've actually only been operating like an actual business for about the last year and 4 months.
Okay. Nice.
One of the things that we realized was that the number one goal has to be for this, that it has to operate in the black. It can have no red.
Absolutely.
No red in the ledger.
It's a business.
Ever. And so we have actually, even though we've been up and down, and it's been a tremendous challenge throughout this year, this business has zero debt, and absolutely,
That's amazing. Yeah.
No red in its ledger whatsoever, none. Beyond that, we also realized that as what we are is actual media, we had to have a media product to sell. When I became a partner with Kent, it was nice, it was cool. There was a nice foundation between Kent and the people that originally created it, but we had listenership of less than 100,000, and that's on an annual basis. That was September of 2019 when we took a look at that.
Right.
We're rolling into the end of the year. We've got essentially 2 weeks left, and I would absolutely so love to hit our goal was to have 2 million listeners by the end of the year.
Wow.
We're 1,975,000.
Come on,
now.
People, get up
So,
there.
We need just 25,000 more.
25,000.
in the
Tell your
next 2
kids. Tell your
weeks.
family.
In the next
Tell your
2
mom.
weeks,
Tell your kids. Tell your family.
and
What's
we'll
that?
be there.
So Phil posted a good comment. I like this. Oh wait, what did I do now?
Phil's
There
a
we go.
good guy. I don't know if you know Phil.
I don't know.
I know Phil. Phil's our employee.
Oh, okay. And then he says, I think every link in the chain has to be strong, and the strength comes from knowing your vowels. So the AEIOU: adapt, evolve, improvise, overcome, and possible unemployment.
Yeah.
That was good.
Phil's a sharp guy. We love Phil a lot. Phil helps us. Phil has definitely helped us to get our goals this year. He has been a big driver of our goals. Phil, Christine, Care, they're all pushing and making this machine that we are running operate. Christine fills the hopper. Carrie, Phil is the one who makes sure those little widgets are working down the assembly line. And Care is watching over every little bit of the operation and billing it and making sure that everything comes out proper at the end. Quality control. They have been pushing hard and going strong all year to make sure that we hit our goals and we do what we need to do. We did hit our goal, our first little standard goal. We're shooting right now, which we have a good chance to get our stretch goal. We're probably going to get our stretch goal. And then the big, hairy, audacious goal might be a tough one, but we knew it would be.
Yeah.
That's why it's a big, hairy, audacious goal.
What do you want to share that? What equals big, hairy, and audacious?
For us, it's $1 million in revenue. Right?
You can do it. You'll do it.
I mean, we're so close. Next year, that's our goal. That's our standard goal, is how close we are this year. That's our standard goal next year. Yeah, and then we're gonna stretch. So yes, so we have, we're gonna get it next year.
So you benchmark every year.
Yes.
You hit that. This is where we are benchmarked for the next.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so for the first, to give you an idea, the first 3 years, and I don't typically like to share my numbers because I could say $1 million or I could say we did this, but you don't know what my expenses are.
No.
You don't know what you laugh, right? You don't
Mhm.
know what my numbers are. So I could say that, and I just don't want people to be like, oh, you there's no way you're doing this, or oh, you can't, you got to do more than that, or whatever it may be, right? So I'm just very cautious when I say my numbers because you don't know my numbers. So I'm only giving you one number. So
Right.
First 6 months was, our goal was 300,000 or 30,000. We hit 70. in the first 6. So,
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Then, so that was first 6 months. My next flip of that was to take that number, because I said, hey, look, and we looked to do 30. We seemed to be on a roll. We did 70. Let's take that number. If that's 6 months, 70, that's 140 for a year. Double it. I want to hit 300. I think, or 280, I think it was. We did like 270, something like that, or 280. We were right around there. So then it was, all right, let's take that again and double it. And so that was our idea, was to just keep. And so now we're at that point where we can't just keep doubling it. But our goal is to hit those benchmarks and make sure that we are substantially growing our company. And in doing so, they actually mentioned earlier, we bought a sea container. So it's like just one of those storage containers that go on trains and ships, and they ship them across the sea. So we bought one of those to expand our shop, because we're buying more equipment. We're taking on the content, so we need content cleaning areas in our shop, things like that. So we're working on expanding our company and buying assets and making sure that we have the proper systems in place to make sure that we can handle the larger goals that we're looking to get to. So investment is a lot right now. This year was a lot about reinvesting to make sure we can get to those goals. So,
yeah, I mean, I shared with you that I want to hit $1 million in the next like 3 years,
right?
And so I could get into the $1 million bookkeeping room at the QuickBooks conference. So that's my thing, and that's what's driving me. And I'm gonna get into that room because I want to know what happens in there. And then once I find that out, then I'll.
Is it a super big secret? Do they just like keep
Well, they close the doors.
Really? Somebody stands there and they won't let you in? You can't open it?
It's on your badge. So like you have like a badge that's scanned. It's a 3-day conference, and so you go and they're like, okay, any $1 million firms go into this room. All you other peons go into this room.
All you heathens.
So then they like stand there, and they had champagne. I don't know. And they closed the doors. And I don't know what happened then. So
you went in that room.
Yeah, that was we were open less than a year when we went to the QuickBooks conference. And after seeing that, I'm like, we have to get in there. I have to know.
I just want it once.
And then I guess after that, then I'll have to find a different goal. I guess, I mean,
we are part of a franchise, and our franchise does a owners conference every year. And they actually did it right before they closed for COVID last year. So we were there, and every year that I've gone, I see them do. And my wife went for the first time last year, and she saw the $1 million. They give out a $1 million plaque. You know, it's a plaque that says you're $1 million company, right? You produced $1 million or whatever. So that's one thing that want to get the plaque. I just want the plaque, right? It's like a stupid little notch on your belt, but it's something to say you've done it. You attained your goal of getting to that point, right? So. Yeah, I like the fact that my goal is not so much the plaque. We both want the plaque, her and I, but more so my goal is I like to support and build something that supports a bunch of families. So to me, I want to be able to say that we support multiple families, which we do, and that's what my goal ultimately in the end is, to support multiple families.
That's cool.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you. I mean, if you're not doing it for something else, you're kind of a dick.
Well, I mean,
I'm kidding.
You know, a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess, did you want to tell everybody again how they could get a hold of you, and we'll kind of just wind on down? Yes.
So Restoration One of, see, my wife posted that right there underneath the phone number. Restoration1ofcary.com. That's where you can find us online. 847-264-4664 to call us 24/7. Emergencies, you call, Carrie answers. She'll pick up the phone. She'll make sure that you're A, not hyperventilating, and B, we have guys on our way out. The guys will handle everything. But those two ways, you can find us on Facebook. If you've dealt with us in the past and you love us, please review us. That really helps us out with our business. One of our goals recently actually was to get more reviews through our employees, and they crushed it. So they got tons of reviews for us. And it was through, people that we know, people that we've done work for, they just follow up and things like that. So we love setting goals and achieving them.
And Christine says to make sure that everybody likes you guys on Facebook so they could see her tips.
Yeah, she gives the tips. Tip Tuesday, that's huge for some people that I know that aren't super house savvy. She'll run through things like
How to
just
not burn your house
reminders,
down.
how to not burn your house down, how to not have frozen pipes, Yeah, huge. Follow Christine, follow us. That's really big. So I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks everybody for tuning in at our new show slot for this week. I guess I'll see everybody after the first of the year. Have a happy and safe holidays.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Here you go. And